The mobile app industry is poised to reach 571 billion by 2030. So if you're interested in creating an app for your business or because you have an idea that you think could take off, you are in the right place. Your mind's working in the right direction. In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 no-code app builders that will allow you to create anything essentially, and they're native mobile app builders. In addition to this, I'm going to share how much they are, how easy it is to get started, and I'll give you some use cases of how they're currently being used to help your creative juices kind of get flowing. Oh, and the best part about all of this, you don't have to have any technical knowledge in order to get started. So let's get right into it. The first one that I wanted to cover is FlutterFlow. FlutterFlow is a no-code mobile app builder that uses Flutter. You get your traditional drag and drop UI builder. So this essentially will allow you to take a component that you want and just drag it on to your app screen and create whatever aesthetic you might be looking for. You can also create your logic visually, which is something that I love about no-code, because a lot of the time with traditional code, there aren't too many visual aspects. You kind of just have to understand it and then test it. But with no code, a lot of the time you get visual everything that kind of makes it a little bit more understandable and digestible. You can handle incredibly complex logic, like I just said, visually, which makes it a little bit easier to understand, unlimited possibilities. So use our custom code editor to create your own widgets or actions. So they provide widgets and custom components that are kind of already created. But if that is not what you're looking for, you can create something yourself if you do have that technical knowledge and that technical background. Their mantra is build once, deploy everywhere. So ultimately you can build everything in FlutterFlow and then deploy to Apple Store and Google Play Store, Android and iOS essentially. And let's say down the line you're not interested in using FlutterFlow anymore. The really great thing is that you can export the clean code and take it elsewhere. And when you take it elsewhere, you can come up with your own deployment strategy if that's something that you're interested. But the nice thing is that you're not limited to FlutterFlow if you're looking for a little bit more freedom. You have your plethora of integrations, Firebase, Google Maps, Stripe, GitHub. If you're working on a team, that could be great. Even if you're working alone, also still could be great. And so overall, FlutterFlow is really great because it's a very powerful tool that still comes with the bread and butter of no code that I love, but they kind of pair it with this customization that kind of allows you to create anything and kind of, just opens up the world of development, and it places it at your fingertips. This is why FlutterFlow is probably one of my more favorite tools in terms of customization. But if that's not something you're looking for, because keep in mind with the amount of customization that comes with FlutterFlow, the learning curve can be a little bit steeper than some of the other code app builders, no code app builders that I'm going to get into today. So that's kind of the caveat with FlutterFlow. But if that's something you're looking for, then here you go. You found it. When it comes to pricing, you have your free, standard, pro. They seem to kind of promote their pro the most because it kind of gives you everything that you would need in terms of being able to use unlimited amount of API endpoints. You have your Swagger or Open API imports as well. In addition to that, you also have GitHub integration, which can be useful if you're working on a team, design system. So you really get everything for $70 a month, and you will come to really appreciate this pricing when I show you some of the other no-code app builders that are still great. But a lot of the time with no-code, when you get so much upfront, what tends to happen is the price ends up compensating for that because they're giving you so much upfront, but you are usually limited. You can't do as much, or if you do try and do too much, you get charged for it. But here, I think the price point is great. I think that there's a lot of customization if that's something that you're looking for and you don't want to have like guardrails on when you're building. This might be the tool for you. But let's say you do want something that's a little bit more guardrails. I'll get into some tools that might work a little bit better for you. If we go over to their showcase, we can see some of their use cases. So it looks like this app was created as an education app and it hit over $100,000 in revenue. You have a Tag Along Pro, unlock personalized fitness coach with Olympic athletes app that you can use. Really just kind of demonstrates the versatility with FlutterFlow and everything that you can create, which I think is kind of awesome. And they have 1.1 million users. That's very impressive for a no-code platform. The next no-code app builder that I wanted to get into is Adalo. And this is for my folks that are looking for those guardrails and that maybe don't want too much customization and want a little bit more hand-holding and want a faster build time. This is for you. So with Adalo, you still get your drag and drop builder, which is a common theme for most no-code app builders, if not all no-code app builders. You can create custom responsive web apps. So if you don't want a native mobile app, you can create a web app, which essentially runs inside the browser and will change to whatever device you might be on. You have in-app purchases. You can create a bunch of different actions using Zapier. You have Xano, which is a pretty powerful backend solution for storing data. Like I mentioned, drag and drop freeform builder, web publishing control, geolocation, custom actions, components that you can purchase or that might be available for free on their marketplace, which you can just plug and play into your app. And also so many templates that you can use. That's one of the things I love about Adalo, is that they have so many different templates that are kind of just accessible and available to you. That is not the right place to show you those templates. So here, these are all templates that exist and you can go in, clone it, and then change it around, plug in your data, and you have an app within, minutes. The learning curve is lower than FlutterFlow, and the customization is also a little bit lower. From what I understand, you can't export your code here. So if you're using Adalo, that's where your app's gonna live. You are stuck to their deployment strategy, but they all have a really great community that kind of talks about updates and teaches you and has tutorials on different things and gives you a bunch of different resources. And also you can hire an expert to build it for you. If you're interested, also, you can send me an email and I can help you with it as well. They have expert services that will allow you to create the app if you have the capital to do that and you're too lazy to do it yourself, or maybe you just don't have the time to do it yourself. Here we have some use cases. Looks like they created like a meditation app, meditate on the go, connect with self and nature, holistic health, pay only $10 a month and get 1 drink a day at a restaurant. They have like a geolocation integration here. They have dining made easy, a restaurant reservation type app. Seems like something like OpenTable. Yeah, they have a bunch of different use cases here. So again, Adalo has a bunch of different things that you can do, internal tools as well. Now we get into pricing. So for the professional plan, we are at $65 a month. You get all the starter features, custom integrations, design versions, geolocation, 2 published apps only. So if you're looking to publish multiple apps, this clearly won't work for your use case. 30 monthly app actions. So let's say you create an action that isn't native to Adalo. Let's say you use Zapier to integrate an Excel sheet or some action that essentially works outside of Adalo. Anytime something like that happens, it counts as an action. And if your app is essentially built on that functionality, this can rack up rather quickly. If you have a team, 5 app editors might not be enough. So all in all though, if it's just, you don't really have a huge team and it's a few of you, or maybe it's just you and you're just looking for 1 published app and you're not going to be doing anything crazy in terms of app actions, this might work for you. This might be actually perfect. $65 a month, flexible pricing as you scale. And this is kind of just a little bit more details in terms of what each plan offers. You get your Stripe payments. Custom actions aren't available until you get to the professional plan. Google Maps is also not available until professional plan. Looks like you're not really able to use a collections or notifications API until you get onto the team plan. So if that's something you're interested in, then that might be a turnoff. But you do get responsive web app, unlimited app streams, your built-in database, basic action types, a bunch of different components, custom formulas. So this is still a really great option, honestly. And for $65 a month, you get a good amount of functionality. So if you're just looking to create something that maybe might not scale too big, every time you think about no code and you're trying to use no code as a solution, as a long-term solution, always think scalability. Will I be able to afford this? And will the platform that I'm on be able to handle it? And that will give you the answer for which platform you should use. Quick interruption, my name is Sophie and I go by Code by Sophie on all social platforms. I create tech content with the aim of lowering the barrier of entry into tech and also democratizing the developer economy. So if you support this mission, make sure you like and subscribe, and also check me out on all my other socials. Let's get into the next no-code app builder. The next no-code app builder that I wanted to talk about is Glide. Now, I love Glide particularly because if you already have data that you're interacting with and using and you just want a UI on top of it to kind of make it look more aesthetically pleasing, and maybe you're generating reports and you're doing a whole bunch of different things, maybe you have an on-paper process and you want to put everything in one place, Glide is a really great way to do that. You get your drag and drop builder. One thing to note with Glide is that you only get one primary color and the layouts are also pretty limited. So aesthetically, you don't get as much customization as you do with FlutterFlow or with Adalo. But for an internal business solution, Glide is a really, really great option, especially for something like, let's say, inventory management. You get user profiles, efficient overlays, modern themes, data drill down, action-packed menus. You can collaborate with anyone. They also have templates that you can clone and then customize to whatever you might need. So like I was saying, inventory management, applicant tracker, business report. So a lot of internal solutions. I think that Glide provides pretty good features for those, but I also created a wedding app with this pretty quickly and it does everything that I needed to do. It is limited in terms of what I was able to do aesthetically, but functionally it got everything done. Trusted by Lowe's, PGA, Zapier. They have a bunch of different use cases here. They built a CRM, Catapult, which they're using to track their athletes' performance teams. And so they have a bunch of different use cases. TEDx Lisboa doubled the size of their event with the help of a Glide app. So they created like an event management app. TEDx Home Shield Scotland, powering a home improvement business with automated workflows. They were able to create that here. So you're able to create pretty powerful things with Glide also. You just have to be aware of the limitations in terms of design and also in terms of, pricing and what you can ultimately do if you're trying to scale beyond the limits of the pricing tiers that are available. In terms of pricing, I will say Glide probably has my least favorite pricing structure currently, but depending on what you're building and how you're going to scale, what you're going to use your software for, it might work perfectly for you. So for like an internal business solution, this pricing might honestly work perfectly. So for the free option, if you're using Glide tables, you get one published app, 2 editors, 10 personal users, and as many actions as necessary. So this is a great, obviously, to just test it out. On the maker plan, you get personal users only. So essentially a consumer email domain like Gmail, Outlook, or an EDU. You can have as many of those, and which I think is awesome. You can also use Google Sheets, and then you have your integrations. You only get one published app, 2 editors. One thing to note here is that you only get 500 updates, and so updates count essentially as actions. So let's say you are generating a report using Google Sheets, that would be an action. And so if your, again, main functionality is around that, you would rack up this 500 updates rather quickly. The thing that doesn't really make sense to me and I don't like is that, well, it's not terrible because once you go up to the team plan, you only get 20 users, meaning that users with a custom domain or a consumer email domain, you only get 20 users, 5 editors. But if you want to add users, it's $5 per user, which isn't terrible, all things considered, especially if you're using this as an internal solution. You have a smaller business or you're going to outsource the solution. You can then charge the person per user, just X times X, whatever, your $5, charge them 10, 15, whatever makes the most sense to cover that charge. But with this plan, you get 5,000 updates, which is a little bit more feasible. Glide support, and then you have your business plan, which gives you Glide big tables, PostgreSQL, MySQL, and a bunch of other integrations, unlimited apps, 10 editors. And again, you start at 20 users with the same methodology of paying per user on top of that. But I think for the business plan, it is $10 per monthly active user. And an active user basically means if they sign in, it counts. If they haven't signed in for that month, then it doesn't count. So Glide is really great for teams that are looking for internal solutions, or maybe like a quick app that you're trying to test with family and friends for like a local event, or, you know, for a community event where people can just sign up with their Gmail. This would be really great. You can get it to market really, really quick, and pricing isn't absolutely terrible. But if you're thinking that you want to scale this to the millions, then that might be slightly concerning with the per user model, because your costs might become too expensive. And also something worth looking into is, you know, what the limitations of Glide tables are, or like Google Sheets. And from what I've heard, for external databases, if you do use them within Glide, it can kind of slow down your app overall. So those are all things that you should consider. The next no-code app builder that I wanted to share with you guys is kind of a no-code app builder, but this one's really, really sweet. So it allows you to convert your website to an iOS and Android app. So yeah, you will need a website, but this is perfect for a small business or someone that has a website that maybe just also wants a native app but doesn't want to build something from scratch. You can directly use this platform. You can set up your appearance, so you choose your name, launch screen, app icon, brand colors. You could have native features. So a lot of the time when you have a website or even a progressive web app, you don't get access to native functions or native features. So things like push notifications, app purchases, geolocation, deep links natively allows you to do all of this. Test and download your build to publish on App Store and Google Play. So the really nice thing about this is that there are other no-code platforms that don't allow you to create native mobile apps. So for example, Bubble is a great no-code app builder, but you can't create native apps with it. So you could create, let's say you've already spent time creating your app in Bubble and you're like, oh no, it's not native and I don't want to start all over. Well, lucky for you, you can use natively to quickly wrap around Bubble. And, you know, it allows, like I said, it allows you to kind of switch up the appearance a little bit to make it feel like an actual app, you know, geolocation, push notifications, analytics, health kit, biometric authorization, photo, video, camera, date picker, QR scanners. I mean, yeah, this one's really sweet for Bubble apps for any website. I love this. Some apps that they've created: AI avatars and photos. Create fancy AI generated photos and avatars from yourself using no time. So maybe this is a website that they created with it. TezFly, cheap flight ticket, Planly. And so yeah, they have a bunch of different use cases. So people are using it. It looks like it's a great solution. I've used it personally myself. I love it. So this could be a great option if you already have a website and you just want to quickly add in some features to make it feel like a native mobile app and act like a native mobile app. The next no-code app builder that I wanted to talk about is Draftbit. Draftbit is built on React Native. They're powered by Expo, so you can build for native iOS, Android, and web from the same code base. And if you, similar to FlutterFlow, don't want to be stuck to Draftbit, let's say in the future you want to take your code and go somewhere else, you have the power to do that with Draftbit. Their drag and drop UI builder isn't quite drag and drop. It works a little bit differently, but has a similar idea to it. You have low-level components that let you build anything from scratch. You have your blocks, high order components to help you move fast. You can also add custom code, custom source code into any screen in your app to give you more customization. You can create your design system for, you know, ease of use when it comes to kind of creating your UI in the most seamless way. Connect it up, navigation, actions and interactions, state management, type installation, access APIs directly, add integrations like the rest of the no-code app builders that I mentioned. And you can also view your code for any aspect, which is very, very sweet. Instant screen code, full source code download, like I mentioned, and it's completely open source. I'd say of all the no-code app builders, this one is most comparable to FlutterFlow. Some tools that have been built, or some apps that have been built, you have Montage. Use Montage to discover and purchase the styles that you see on TV. Volt, these are some really great looking applications. City at School, Dig in its 8th year, has distributed welcome boxes to students arriving for the first time at over 150 UK universities. So they have a bunch of different success stories. And so now let's get into the pricing. Also comparable to FlutterFlow, $79 a month, so a little bit more expensive. So on the Pro, you get all visual building features, 3 live projects, unlimited screens, unlimited draft projects, unlimited API endpoints. You can test on both iOS and Android, add custom code, import packages from NPM, full source code export, So like I said, you really do get a lot of customization here, and you just have to find the plan that works best for your use case and what you plan on doing in terms of scalability. But the functionality is definitely here. You would just have to ensure that it works for you personally. I haven't worked too closely with Draftbit, but I've heard really great things about it. So if you're interested in Draftbit, then definitely check this one out. I hope this video was helpful in giving you some more insight into what the top no-code app builders are on the market today and which one would be best for your use case. If you are struggling to figure out which one is best for your use case still, no worries, leave a comment or send me an email and I will be sure to help you out however I can, and I will catch you guys in the next video.